So here is the before. You got the white wall, and you got all these letters that are very distracting. Here's the after. We painted the wall and we got rid of the letters. I think it's a lot cleaner shot. What do you think? The channel got this shot of Janiece. We shot this in Main Street, on Main Street, downtown Boerne, Texas. This is straight out of the camera. I've got it in Lightroom, and what I'm going to do here, what I don't like about the shot, we were just walking by. I saw the pink and the blue door, and I just thought this is cool. So we were shooting in other places, and I said, hey, stand next to the door, give me a pose, spread out a little bit, just see what we can do. And she gave me this, and I just thought it was killer. The only thing, maybe I don't like about this much that I want to change is it's a little busy back here on the window, right, with all these hours, right? So I'm going to show you in Photoshop how to clean that up a little bit. The other thing is, you got this blue door and it's really cool. I like the color. And then there you got kind of this white border on the side. And yeah, we could crop in a little bit, but I like the sort of the composition the way it is, right? So maybe I paint, so to speak, this white border here where this brick is and just paint it to match the door, and I'll show you how to do that very easily. This is an easy tutorial, so if you're not a big Photoshop expert, I'll try to explain everything as I go so you can follow along. You can pause all that kind of stuff if you need to and go back if you get behind. I'll try not to leave out any steps, right? So hey, if you're still here and you're watching, give this a like. That really helps the algorithm, helps it to get seen. And I would really appreciate that. If you like it, something particular, or there's a video you would like me to make to show you how to do something, put that in the comments for me. All right, let's get going. So the only thing, this is pretty much straight out of the camera. The only thing I did was I went down here in Lightroom to this upright transform and went to -10 because my camera angle was a little bit, it wasn't perfectly straight, right? And the lines were a little bit wonky. Now they're straight here in the middle, but on this edge they're a little bit off. So I changed the upright transform to -10. If you go, you see her head got distorted just a tiny bit, right? So I'm going to go back and watch her head. You don't want to do it too much. Like if I come here and I bring it to -10, see what's happening is it's distorting her. So really it's a trade-off. I'll leave it at -9. I don't want to do it too much. It just straightens things up just a little bit to where it doesn't mess with my OCD and straight lines too much, but it's still off. It bothers me, but I'd rather her look good, right? I don't want her to have this long head. So that's really the only thing I did. In Lightroom, usually what I do is almost the same thing. The exposure is pretty much spot on. I'll check the highlights. We don't want to sometimes I can bring the highlights up or down, but I think it's pretty good straight out of camera. This was a natural light shot. I can mess with the blacks or whatever. Pretty good the way it is. Really, I might just want to bring up the vibrance, maybe to 19, right? And I could come down to the sharpening, and I always sharpen, the same thing, but around, 70, 80, and I bring the masking up to like 80 or something like that. That's really it. We don't need to do anything else. I'm going to say edit in Adobe Photoshop. I just right clicked to get that contextual menu, choose edit in Adobe Photoshop, and I want to choose copy with Lightroom adjustments so it keeps the changes that I just made in Photoshop. So here it is in Photoshop. I'm going to remove that out of the way. So real quickly, let's paint the wall. Let's start with that. So I've got my background shot here. I'm going to hit on the keyboard Control J. That duplicates the background layer. Why am I doing that? If I make any changes here and I screw it up, I'm doing it on this layer here. It's like a pancake, right? You got several layers of pancakes, and say I'm want to remove one of those pancakes. Well, the original pancake, I put too much butter on the top pancake, right? Messed it up. Well, I can take that top pancake off, right? And I've still got the layer below it with no changes, and that pancake is still good, right? Same type of thing with layers. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, hopefully that gives you an idea. So here's my pancake right here. I've got double stack of pancakes right here. This is the original, right? Here I'm going to add some butter on it, right? So let's add some butter. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose my brush tool. That's this one right here, brush tool. Okay. Right and left bracket keys, those are next to the P key. Right makes the brush larger, left makes it smaller. Okay. And I'm not going to worry too much about, painting inside or outside the lines. I could select her and select the inverse and all that, but let's just get to it and paint the wall. So hold down the Alt or Option key. That gives you the dropper, right? And I can come here and I can press and look, that gives me a selection. That selects the color here, right? And it's a little darker up here, right? So I'm going to come here and I'm just going to start painting. I'm at about a flow of 60%, right? I think my hardness is 30%. That helps me stay inside the lines a little bit better. So I come down here and I could just keep the same color, or I could sample as I go down and make it, a little bit lighter as we go down to match the lighting a little bit, right? And I just went over her hand, but don't worry about that. And it just keeps getting lighter as we go down, right? So I'm just hitting that control and I'm sampling as I go down, just trying to, it doesn't make a whole bunch of difference in the final result, but it makes some difference, right? So I just want to kind of blend this a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be like perfect, So for blending, maybe I bring the flow down to like 20. Okay. Come here. See, that just makes it easier to blend it. And it's not perfect. It looks like crap. To be honest with you, right? You're like, what are you doing, Greg? Like this looks like crap, Greg. What are you doing here? What are you doing, Greg? So, all right. So it's not even blended that well. But what I can do now is come up here to the blend modes. That's this right here where it says normal, and I have all these blend modes, and you can see as I highlight over them, they give me, look at that. You see that? It brought out on multiply, it brought out just, you can see the brick under there, right? Color burn. You just see what all these different ones do. Some of them don't do anything, but go down to hue. That didn't do anything. Saturation, that's kind of weird. How about color? Let's try that one. Change your blend mode to color, and look at that. I just painted the wall and I can see the original texture of the brick underneath, right? So her hand's blue. Let's fix that. So how do we do that? Come down here to this little thing right here. That's the mask button, and that puts a mask. If you're not familiar with masks, go look up some masking tutorials. I can't remember if I've done a masking tutorial. I'll have to do one. But real quickly, when I create a mask, make sure you can select the picture or the mask. Make sure the mask is selected, right? The mask just covers up. It either reveals or conceals. That's what it's for. So if I made this edit, this edit here is paint, right? I made this paint edit. That's what I named the layer, right? If I kind of went outside the lines, what the mask will do, if I, again, make sure you select the mask, you paint white or black on a mask to reveal or conceal. So right now, white, no changes, right? It is what it is with the white. And if I switch this little picker right here, this little toggle to black, you can switch between white and black every time you hit this double arrow. Switch it to black. What black does is removes on a mask. So if I paint black on this white, let me just show you, and let's zoom in a little bit. Control plus, hold down the space bar, that gives you the hand, and you can move the canvas, right? Left bracket key to resize, and let me resize it here to this. And remember, I'm painting black. Make sure the mask is selected. If you're on here, that's not going to work. Select the mask. Come over here and just start painting, and look what it does. It removes whatever effect I applied on this layer. It removes it when I paint black on white. What do you think happens when I paint white on black? Let's switch it over to white. It reveals, it brings it back. It reveals whatever this effect was on this layer. So reveal and conceal. So I'm going to go to black because I want to conceal the effect. Not everywhere, just where I messed it up, right? And I'm not going to go through here and get this perfect. This is just for the sake of example. You want to get this as perfect as possible. Zoom in, take the time, right? Her hand's a little blue, her arm's a little blue down here, right? take the time, and I think this blue is maybe, I don't know, if that's, no, it's not a reflection. I was thinking it was a little bit of a reflection. Take the time and get it right. She's got a blue thumb, right? You don't want that. So go in there and zoom in a lot, if you have to, right? Just so you can get that stuff right, because you don't want blue hands or blue body. And same thing elsewhere. Doesn't really matter too much here if I went outside the lines because it's already blue. So that's, pretty darn good. I'm happy with that. And just like that, we painted the wall, right? So what's the other thing here? Well, these hours back here is kind of like it's distracting, right? So maybe I want to remove that. So let's do Control Shift Option or Alt E, and that just creates a new layer with the edits below it. So on my pancake here, I just slapped a brand new pancake on the top, but it has all the butter and everything else that I added below it, right? It's on this top layer, okay? Pancakes. All right, so let's use our delete tool, and that is this one right here. If you don't see it, it might be healing brush. You long click on the icon. If it's healing brush, change it to remove tool and you're good, right? Zoom in again, Control plus, or if you have a scroll wheel on your mouse and you set it up in your menu options, you can scroll in with your mouse, right? So I'm going to come in and let me isolate her a little bit. So I'm going to choose, actually go back to this quick selection tool. So look at your selection tools. If you don't see it, long click and choose quick selection tool, right? And that gives me this select subject button up here, okay? It's context sensitive, so if I use that one, you can see the button disappears. If I use the lasso tool, come down here and use the quick selection, and then you'll see this select subject. You hit it. I'm gonna hit Control 0 so you can see what it's doing. And it selected her. Now I'm just gonna be working right in here, so I don't care if it's not perfect everywhere, right? But I want to work outside of her, not on her. So I'm gonna right click my selection and choose Select Inverse, and that selects everything outside of her, okay? And that's gonna help me if I go outside the lines, so to speak, when I'm working here. It's not gonna go on her. It's just gonna, anywhere that's selected is where whatever changes I make are going to be applied, right? So it's kind of like coloring outside the lines. It's not going to get on her. You'll see here in a second. Go back to your remove tool. Now this remove tool is almost like a generative AI brush. I'm going to right click, or right bracket, which is the brackets next to the P key, and let's just instead of muscling, trying to get rid of all of it at once, let's get rid of pieces at once. And you can see it doesn't let me go inside her, right? It does, but I come in here, but it's not going to really do anything, right? So let me just come right here, and I'm going to grab that and see what I mean by it doesn't just remove, it fills as well. So it's like a generative AI brush. Let's come over here and get these, and I'll start maybe right here. I guess we could, I could try to muscle it and do, the lazy way and get rid of as many of these as I can. Let's see what it does. Okay. Just like that. Usually I would go in one by one and take them out line by line. See, I got some kind of, maybe I just go again. I'll see what it does with that. That's kind of cool. So it removed it all at once. Let's Control 0. Kind of takes it out. We lost some of the sort of the reflections in the window though. So let me just show you. I'm going to hit Control Z, which is undo, or Option, Alt, Option. I don't know what it is on Mac. You just undo. I'm a Windows guy, but it's weird because I have a Mac keyboard. Don't ask. All right, so instead of trying to muscle it and doing it all at once, you could also just come in here and do one at a time. And I think it's going to more retain some of this stuff back here, right? Instead of getting rid of all of it at once. See how it's retaining some of those reflections in the glass, right? Whoops. So it takes a little bit longer. It's a little bit more tedious, but I think you get a better result if you just come in here and take a little bit more time, right? And do it just like that. So we have, see how it's doing a generative, it's like a generative AI brush. And let's go Control 0. And you have these reflections. They're, you know, you could say, you know, the brightest part of a picture is what the eye is drawn to. So, you know, maybe we kind of get rid of that. This is kind of bright too, but it is what it is. We could take that out if we were so inclined. I don't know. It's kind of going into her face, right? Maybe we take that out too. And we'll leave that reflection there. So I kind of got it where it was going into her face. Let me get that right there, and we're good. All right, so let's go to this side because it doesn't make sense that these are over here. I mean, I guess it could. And just one by one, let's get rid of these things, right? Boom. And just like that, I'm going to hit Control D. That's deselect all. And we have gotten rid of the distractions. You could continue on with the window if this bothers you in here, but pretty good. So we painted the wall to make it more, give it some continuity, right? Just the block of white was bothering me. It makes it less noticeable, right? And then we got rid of the letter. So let me just show you what we did there. I'm going to hit this bottom, this first pancake, hold down the shift key, hit the second pancake on top. It's actually the third, I guess, because the bottom layer is the first, but you get what I mean. I've got them both selected by holding down shift, and I select one and then the other. And then I can hit Control G, which is for group, and that groups them into this group. Now, inside that group, it's like a folder. You have two pancakes in a group, right? I've got just those two together. And what I can do is hit the eyeball and it will turn the effect off. So here is the before. You got the white wall and you got all these letters that are very distracting. Here's the after. We painted the wall and we got rid of the letters. I think it's a lot cleaner shot. What do you think? Leave a comment below. If you like this, give it a like. That really, really helps the algorithm. And I really appreciate, if you're still watching, you rock. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe if you want to, and you have a good day.